Motor, no end play. We got no actually real end play either. There's actually no real end play, but there's no motor shaft slop. So, yeah, there we go. So I'm actually just gonna, I guess, kind of joke about it a little bit. So I obviously have a vehicle. It is a Traxxas XMAXX, which has been named Trash Bag. If you want to know why it's called Trash Bag, I'll leave a link that you can go ahead and check, and you can see why it's He's not calling me sexy babe. He's calling my wife's picture sexy babe. See, he's over there. See, look at him. Look at him. He likes my wife. Look at him. Look at him. He's snuggling up to her and everything. It's a riot. Of course, he's not going to do it now, will he? Of course, because he's on camera. But he's staring right at her. Look at him. See what I'm saying? Such a riot. Anyways, I've got my motor out of my Traxxas XMAXX. My Traxxas XMAXX has kind of exhibited a couple of issues. One is a common issue, which should not be a common issue, point blank. Having the rear bearings of my Traxxas XMAXX fail on its first run should not be something that happens. But along with that, I ended up finding only because on my second run, my motor pinion slipped off. And that's how I found eventually, after disassembling the whole truck and getting all the sand and debris and everything out of it, because sand got everywhere. Installing that pinion, or going to install that pinion, I just literally realized that the sand was everywhere, so it was going to be a total tear down, which I'll also put a link in the description for that, as well as a card that's up in the corner there. But anyways, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you that my motor shaft has what's called, it actually has real end play, which what I should do is show you another motor or a couple of other motors to show you end play and to show you obviously that lateral or side-to-side movement that I'm also calling an end play, and it's basically just to keep it, just easy to understand. So end play meaning it's got slop in the motor shaft that actually shouldn't be there, because as that motor's cranking, I mean, that's got to create a certain amount of vibration. Earl Moorhead also did basically the same exact video that you're seeing here. And I guess my video, what's going to do is it's just going to show my findings of my motor. He showed the findings of both of his motors, or actually, no, he showed the findings of his brand new motor, which is effectively kind of the same thing as mine, except mine only has 2 rips, and his was grass driven. So why would a motor have that much slop if it was only grass driven? When Earl says that he grass drove it, that's what he did. So, and you saw obviously what I did, 2 packs, or a pack .75, or a pack and 3/4, or whatever you want to call it, a pack and a half, is what I went through until my motor pinion slipped off. And yeah, did I rip it? Of course, it's an XMAXX. It's supposed to be ripped. But then there's another guy, which I'm actually going to place the video actually right here. So we're going to take a moment, and I want to show you these findings of this motor first so that you understand where we're coming from. So I'm just going to show you this video right now.
Hey guys, so I watched RC Guy Garage, his video, and I watched Earl Moorhead's video on the end play that they're having in their XMAXX. And I've got this end play, which is in and out, which, okay, that's what they typically call end play. That's normal. That's not going to hurt anything because, you know, that's sliding in and out. So that little bit of movement isn't going to hurt nothing. It's this up and down movement that can cause problems. And I don't have it in mine. I mean, it's if I push on it, that way I'm not accidentally pulling it in and out when I'm trying to move it left and right. Nothing. There is 0 play in the end of this thing, so I just thought I would pull mine apart, and I took it completely apart and inspected the bearings. The bearings are smooth as a dollar. They fit good and tight. I just wanted to pull it apart to show you guys what mine looked like, because more information is always better. And so, thanks for watching, fellas.
Bingo! So you see what I'm saying? So there's that video just kind of proving and or showing that these motors either have issues or don't. So his truck actually collided with a full-size truck's pumpkin going between, I'm thinking like 40 to 60 miles per hour, plus the other vehicle coming the other way. It was just an accident. It was what it was. It's no big deal. But surprisingly, that's actually why I ended up buying an XMAXX, and his motor shows no issue. So I'm going to show you the issue with my motor. 2 rips. That's all this thing has on it. So you can see right here, I obviously got my tripod set up so we can get the best view. This is what they call a dial indicator. I have the dial indicator zeroed out to 0. It actually does have a fine adjustment, which is this little wheel right here. And obviously what it does, it runs off of a mag mount that you can turn on and off. Obviously it pulls the magnet away. And I have it affixed to that as a solid mount, which that is the motor out of the Traxxas XMAXX. So it goes onto a rod, goes onto a fixture that attaches another rod, that these 2 rods are actually separate from each other, in a sense, kind of separate. And then it has a fine adjustment. And then right now, I have this gauge zeroed out. And like what you saw in Earl's video, if you saw it, that number right there, the small little number right there, that basically shows how many times this meter has actually gone around from 0 to 0. So that just gives like the compound movement of the needle. Or whatever. It shows you the full rotations of the needle, how many times it actually went around. And then this one obviously gives you the thousands of motion that you're going to see on this motor. So, yeah. Well, I'm just going to show you how much movement that we have on this Comp Cam's dial indicator hooked up to my Traxxas XMAXX. I am zeroed out. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, you're on the side, huh? Well, that's your fault. Yeah, you get mad at me. Look at you. Attitude. Little sulk. Yeah, getting all mad. You gotta be kidding me. Had nothing to do with me. So this magnetic base that's actually right here did not come with the kit that I've got from Comp Cam's. The Comp Cam's is actually a degree wheel. Comes with a different type of base. I did have a magnetic mount base, but I have no idea where it went, and that's kind of typical. So you can see I've actually got it on the motor shaft. I tried to put it in a position kind of whereabouts maybe the pinion would kind of, I guess, contact the spur. And obviously you can see as I bang the table, the needle bounces, but then it goes right back to 0, indicating that we are exactly where we need to be. Now, something I had noticed about this motor is that it's getting multiple clicks. So hopefully things can be quiet enough and you can actually hear the clicks that I'm getting. Now, what I'm going to do first, I'm actually going to pull away. So right now, in the position that this shaft is in the motor, in the bearing's holding it, I'm getting a single click this way, plus I'm getting what's called a normal movement. And then as I click it this way, I'm getting like 3 clicks. Now, I've tried to like centrally locate that shaft, and right here seems to be the central location for that shaft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pull on it first. Meaning I'm going to pull it this way so that you can see how much movement that we've got here on this dial indicator. So I'm going to just put my finger on here. And I mean, you can see it. It doesn't make a difference. I can put my fingers on here. It's not going to change. We are mag mounted. Everything's solid. So I'm just putting my finger on here so I can give a pull on it. Okay, so I'm pulling on the motor shaft. So see how you got to click? See that? Now, see, that's clicking. Now, I honestly don't even know what that click is, but as you can see how much that meter moves. Now, obviously, we're going into the negative right now, but I just wanted to show you that we actually have movement throughout this entire, throughout this entire bearing or whatever. Now that we've done that single click, now this is normal. So what you're seeing right here, that's normal. That's what you should see when you're talking about bearings, because there obviously is the slightest amount of just microscopic movement that you're going to get within bearings that are in a bearing. So, like, within that bearing, there are obviously bearings. It makes up a whole bearing. Now, when I go this way is when we get our major movement. So, and what I'm going to do, right? So, watch. So, I'm just going to do that. It ends up zeroing out because it actually gets level. I'm going to zoom in. So, maybe you can see a closer visual. So, here's the click. So see how I let it go? That's the click. And then this is the normal motion that you should get. See how there's motion? That's normal. That's normal play. That's what you should see. Centered? It's centered. It's crazy. Crazy. Now this is the way, when I click it this way, going towards the dial indicator, listen to this. That's 2 clicks. And that's 3 clicks. I have no idea what is clicking here. It's going 1, 2, that's actually 2 clicks. I wish I could show you like each individual click. It's hard to, because the shaft just wants to like click and move. There we go. So there's that first click. So it's the same as the other side. There's another click. And there's another click. Now this motion that I'm getting is normal. That is just way too much slop. I'm telling you. This is absolutely insane. This is wrong. So let's readjust my indicator here, because I think I moved it with my finger. Oop. Come on. Well, you know what? How about that? How about if I readjust my needle? I use the fine adjustment to get it on 0. Give it a couple wraps. Settle out the needle. See how I'm settling out the needle? This isn't a machine shop dial indicator. It serves its purpose for exactly what I need. So I'll pull away. Click, click, click. Normal movement right here. That's normal movement. That click should not be there. Now when I click it this way is when it goes bad. Look at that. That's absolutely insane. That movement is normal. This click stuff, look at how much movement I've got in a 2-rip motor. That's nuts. That's wrong. See what I mean? He comes over. He needs to, every time I'm doing something, he needs to come over. Look at it. Yeah, I don't know. Pain in the neck. So basically it's showing the numbers. So we're showing the numbers. We're showing how much movement that we're getting. So I'm back. What I'm trying to do is I want to actually, now that we know like that's actually attached, I really want to get you down so you can actually see how many thousandths of an inch that this thing is registering. So I think we're there. So obviously each line registers 1/1000th of an inch. Okay? So when I do my shaft going backwards, meaning going in that direction, okay? I think we got like 4.5. Now we're going to the click. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's effectively 4/1000ths of an inch, which, I mean, that's all right, but when you compound between the 4/1000ths and then when you compound it with this just 9/1000ths, so I mean, add it up. 9 plus 4 is what? 13/1000ths of an inch is how much play that we have in this motor, and that is, in my mind, that is 100% unacceptable. Come on. So where I ended up positioning my needle is kind of about where I assume my pinion mesh would kind of be. He's still over here. Alright, so now what I'm going to show you, now that I showed you that lateral movement, I want to show you what's called real end play. So I'm going to show you the actual action of the motor shaft going in and out, which there is a certain amount of acceptable end play, but here's the odd thing. I actually feel this motor actually has too much end play. So it probably, this type of end play really doesn't really make a difference, but I want to show you the difference between a quality motor and a motor that's a piece of crap. I know, I'm being so opinionated now, but whatever. I'm just not thrilled here, so. All right, so this setup might be a little bit more difficult. Actually, I should show you how I'm doing this. So I am going to now basically release like everything. You know, how about if I... God, what a disaster here. I'm trying to show you like how I do this setup, so I'll keep it like up here and out of the way. This is going to take like a couple of minutes. This is actually the magnetic base that I'm using. So yeah, I'll leave a link in the description for both bases because both bases actually have a very good function. This is just a different type of arm. So this articulating arm has a limited amount of movement. It's odd. I like this mount, but I also like this one. This is a more, I guess, you can move this mount kind of like in all kinds of positions. So basically what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to release this one at the base right here, which will allow this meter to come up and off that shaft, okay, just like that. And then I'm going to release this one and pull this needle right off. Now, you want to be careful because obviously it loosens it up between the whole thing. So the meter itself or the dial indicator is loose, and the same thing with the shaft. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up so that hopefully I can get that top-down end play. So we'll set that like that. It has a on-off on the actual, almost called it the motor. It has a on-off switch, which is kind of cool. So right now, it's not going to come off of this motor. I mean, if I really pry it off, it will. You turn it off, and it literally turns the magnet off. What it's doing is it's pulling the magnet away. So, all right. So now what I want to do is I want to get that top-down kind of action. And then what I can do on this, right, because you can see how it attaches. It actually did attach to the motor. And I just basically, what it does is it must move the magnet like in a certain way. Like I'm guessing like it moves the magnet like somehow like that way because it magnetizes this way and it magnetizes that way. And we are pretty solid on that motor right now. We're just going to get a top down. So now I can take this device right here. This is the part that has the fine action or fine movement. And I can set the pin in. Pretty much put it, I guess, right to the end. Like that. Just going to set it up kind of just basic right now. Take my dial indicator. Feed that in. And then put the knob on the back side so that the indicator is not in the way. Yeah, there we go. So that should work. Oops. So now what I need to do is basically locate the indicator, the needle, to the top of the shaft. That's by loosening this. And just going to let it sit on it just a little bit. Just like that. Make sure this one's tightened up. Okay, so there is a very slight amount of pressure on it, but that's just to show you the actual movement of that needle. So now I'm going to get you into something along those lines, I guess. So this wheel up on the top here, of course you can't see it. This little wheel on the top here, you just loosen that so that you can turn your glass to zero it out. Or not. Alright, why are you giving me a hard time here? Oh. What an idiot. Alright. That was dumb. I actually had the indicator stuck. So that's why it wasn't turning. See how the wheel turns? See how the actual lens turns? I didn't realize it was actually stuck on the bottom there, so. But I think we're good now. Those obviously move. I'm just going to leave that as is. I'm going to just basically down the indicator till it hits the top of the shaft. There is a little bit of tension on it, obviously, to show you whether if I can get some actual movement going down. And basically pulling up is where I seem to be getting the most motion. So I'm going to take that needle right now. I'll zero it out. Right about, I think, right there is probably zeroed, and then I'll use that fine adjustment right here. This wheel, it actually looks like it's on 0 already. It's on 0, isn't it? Man, it's damn close. I'm going to give it a couple of wraps on the table just to make sure that the needle is settled. Okay, it's not going anywhere. So now I'm going to show you what's called real end play. You can see that is the Traxxas motor. And what I'm going to do right now first is I'm going to pull down or push down on the actual motor. Now, that's normal, okay? Not really getting anything. That means it's settled up against the bearing. Now I'm going to pull up on it. That, to me, is a lot of motion. So now I'm going to reset my needle, because now I did a pull on it, and the needle needs to be reset. Give it a couple wraps. Tighten it down. We'll get that. That's actually pretty much on 0. It's close enough. That's the way I'm looking at it. So, how can I get you, like, into a better position here? Yeah. Yeah. What a mess. Welcome to Disaster Garage. So what I wanted to show you, I'm gonna be pulling down. I'm gonna pull down on it first. Okay. You know what I should do? I mean, I'm all over the place and thinking here. That way, can I zoom in? Nah, I can't zoom in right. All right, whatever. So I'm going to show you the downward motion first. We are zeroed out, so that means the needle's going to go backwards. That's normal, okay? That's normal play. Now I'm going to pull up on the shaft. And, of course, the camera stopped. But anyways, you got the idea. 21 thousandths of movement plus, I'm not even going to even add the other side. 21 thousandths was literally like how much play that I had in that shaft, which I'm not really as concerned with that, but that's too much too. Let me show you. So I'm going to pop off this motor right here. I'm going to pop this one off. Watch. It's easy as this. Turn the magnet off, pull it away. All right. So now I'm going to take another motor. All right. This motor might be deemed a lesser quality motor. Okay. But it's not. So magnets on it. I'm going to drop the indicator down. Actually got to pull the indicator actually a little in because it is a smaller motor. So I'm going to pull the indicator in so I can get a top down actually on that motor. So I think right there is close enough. See what I'm saying? Close enough. And then what I'll do is I'll slide this shaft down till it hits. Give it a little bit of pressure. And I'm going to zero out the needle, which is right about there. Give it a couple bangs. I'll use the fine adjustment. Oops, wrong way. So that's zeroed out right now. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you the motion. I'm going to push down with my fingernail first. So on this motor right here, we're getting, So I'm going to zero it out. I think we're good. All right. So I'm going to pull down. So I can get it to go to about 10 or 9 1,000ths going that way, which this is kind of semi-inaccurate. Damn it. The point is I'm showing you play, right? Now watch when I pull up on it. Pull up on it, there's nothing. So the play in this one is actually all in the downward position, which that's just showing you. It's just showing you that there's play. Now I'm going to try to get side-to-side motion on this motor as well. I won't keep the camera going. I'll just come back when I'm ready. All right, so this is the setup that I have right now. That is on the 2000 kV motor from Hobao. Obviously, we showed that there was a little bit of end play, which was basically acceptable for what that is. It's only in one direction versus the Traxxas, which is actually in both directions. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the lateral motion, or try to at least show you the lateral motion. Yeah, so here we go. So I'm going to zero out the needle the best I can. I use the fine adjustment on the back side here to get the needle to where I want it, which is basically right there. I'm going to give the table a couple wraps just to make sure the needle is settled into place. And there we go. So now that needle is set into place. It is right up against the tip of it. Well, it's not the tip of the shaft. It's actually down a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give that a push towards the actual, towards the indicator itself. Okay? So all right, so I got to reset that because it must not have been set in 0, but I think I can do fine adjustment on it. All right, so there we go. So I'm going to give it a push. So I'm pushing a good amount on it, and we're getting to be about 2 to 2.5 1/1000ths. 2.5 1/1000ths if I really crank on it. But if I'm just doing it normally, about 2 1/1000ths of an inch in one direction. Go in the opposite direction. And literally about the same and or less. They say point blank, proof is in the numbers, or proof is in the pudding. So there you go. There's your proof. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode from RC Guy Garage. It's basically just talking about what's called motor slop or motor end play. Motors have both end play, which is in and out. Motor slop, which, yeah, my Traxxas XMAXX factory stock motor has way too much slop, which I'm sure the numbers were pretty consistent with what Earl found on his brand new motor too. He only grass drove it. And then what's crazy, Rick and Candy, his Traxxas XMAXX has 0 slop in it. So granted, he doesn't use a dial indicator, but he sounds educated enough to kind of know, and maybe if he's got a dial indicator, maybe he'll throw some numbers up on the board too. So anyways, like I always say, if you like episodes like this from RC Guy Garage, you point blank know what to do. Just get out there and rip it. The woods. Holy crap! Oh! body off. Oh my God. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. That was right to my face.